there are strong insinuations that there are, disenchantments within, disunity within the president's media team, and that indeed this entire Mehdi Hassan saga was a setup. You were sent there and set up, knowing that, assuming that you would fail, you would struggle and probably fail, and that would portray you in bad light before your principal. Is there any substance?
I will reserve my comment.
No, Daniel, please do not reserve your comment. The public has a right to know.
Yes, but I don't believe in crying. I know what is going on.
Yes.
Right from when I was appointed.
Yes.
I know. In fact, it is beyond just assuming. I've not been appointed to speak about myself. It's to speak about the president and his programs. That is where you see my best, and I'm not the type of person that will complain about what is going on.
But there is division, there's disunity.
It's up to you guys in the media.
No, confirm it. You're the man in the eye of the storm.
Let me tell you.
You're the man in the eye of the storm. So let this go to rest. Let's
see. Let's just proceed. Let's proceed.
Okay. Welcome to Naija Unfiltered on SYMFONI TV.
Thank you.
My guest today is Barrister Daniel Bwala, Special Advisor to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on media and policy communications. Barrister Bwala, nice to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay. And of course, we'll start from let's clear the cobwebs, as they say.
Okay.
The elephants looming in the arena. Your last appearance on Al-Jazeera.
Oh my God. I've gone past this.
No, let's just clear that, so that we can deal with substantial, issues. In the past, when you were in opposition, you had called the president some names, derogatory names, is this, is that. I don't want to repeat them, not to put you on the spot, as it were. But then,
I have never called him a derogatory name.
No, but you said it was, a drug kingpin.
I have never called that.
You said it was
That's
corrupt.
why they're missing it.
You said it was
what
corrupt.
they are missing it is that there were other individuals that used that. If you ask people from the other side where I work with, if there was one thing I disagreed throughout the campaign, was the appellation.
Okay.
There is a drug lord. Okay. But what I was saying was that question around that needs to be cleared, exactly. Which Mehdi Hassan also asked.
Thanks for that clarification. But you criticized him heavily.
That's a good word.
Now, but when you went to, is it face to face or what?
No, head to head.
Head to head. You actually denied all those comments.
I will tell you what happened.
You denied those comments. Now, how do you feel from all the fallouts, the backlash from the public?
Me as a person, to be honest, I was not touched. Do you know why? The viewing public didn't know what actually happened. It is unfortunate that Mehdi Hassan has adopted that approach. It is totally unprofessional. I have asked media executives and personalities what happened, whether it is ethically.
I think you used the word ambush, that you were ambushed.
No, ambush, I never use. People use the word I was ambushed.
So you also said the interview itself was 1 hour 48.
That was what I'm trying to explain to you.
19 minutes.
It's 1 hour 20 minutes.
1 hour 20 minutes, but that they edited 49 minutes.
And the part that was edited out, all I need is for you to, I asked Nigerians to tell them to release the entire phone. Then you will know. Because the Nigerian people that were in that audience, they have reported to Daddy Free, some of them who were, fair enough, that the part that were edited out were the part that I was fact-checking him and giving it to him strong. That's one. Number two, he doctored the interview in the sense that after the interview, I have seen a lot of opinion, writers and people who gave their own punditry about the interview. They actually thought that it was in that interview when he asked the question and I denied, he played my past. And then I would deny he played my past. But in actual fact, what happened was that after the interview, they went back and now went back to my previous statement and found them to add to each place he asked me the question. In other words, it is post-interview production, which media executive told me that if they were going to use it, then they needed to have sent it to me for me to provide additional defense to it, because then you are bringing something outside of his presence. But let me even tell you why, if you play the entire interview, you will appreciate. The first 15 minutes, he has asked similar questions, and I acknowledge. I even told him at one point, I even say more than you are imagining. Let us go to important issues and not talk about that. So when he continued to push in that part, I got frustrated. And I decided, I told him, I'm going to be denying all. And that was what happened. So if you don't watch the full interview, you will never appreciate exactly what happened. Yesterday, I even found out that even ChatGPT was misled by the event into thinking that that video was played at that program. This is how defamatory it went. But we're looking at other legal options. But this is basically what happened.
Okay. Yeah. But, I mean, overall, the perception out there in the public was that, you know, it was perhaps one of your worst showings, you know, in the media. You know, because you are very articulate. And
let me be very honest with you. That interview, history would judge, is one of my best. By the time the full video comes out, people will appreciate
But like I was saying,
they edited out those places. For example, apart from his question around my personality and that I criticized the president, all matters of the economy, security, and the rest, I answered them robustly. But he de-emphasized them.
Okay, but one aspect of the entire thing that stands out like a sore thumb, you know, is the aspect where you outrightly denied making some of the comments. Whereas, hold on, Daniel, whereas you were, you know, there are records, electronic records.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity now because, Daniel, what I want us to do, let's give opportunity to Nigerians to see you apologize, if I may use that.
I would not apologize.
To say, because Nigerians feel let down that you brought
because of misinformation. When they bring out the full video and play it, and the Nigerians watch it and air their opinion, then at that point we will decide whether I apologize. I would rather expect that lots of Nigerians will apologize to me, but then they can't now because their opinion was based on the 8-minute doctored interview. So within that context, they are right in how they express themselves.
Are you saying, Daniel, that even the aspect where you were asked direct questions that you said the president is this or okay, for instance, you didn't say that in that interview, but I remember you saying even if they give President Tinubu 30 years, he cannot do anything. You said that.
This is another misinformation. Okay. You see what you're just saying? Yeah. Because it has been played over and over on social media,
accepted as
you now accept. But I never say something like that.
Until we play out, maybe if we now get the real tape of
I can even send you the interview, or if you can pause this, I will forward to you. I have it on my phone here.
Daniel, what about the specific cases, instances that Mehdi mentioned where you said this, he said no, but then they played,
like I told you. You see, this is another thing. Yes. You are still believing the falsehood and the lies of Mehdi.
Explain the falsehood.
No, you said they played. In that interview, there was never playing of anything.
Yeah, I admit your explanation that it wasn't played to you when you were there.
Yes.
They played it afterwards. But
no, they did not play it afterwards because there was any hearing again.
They produced it afterwards and added it.
But the point I'm saying, get it very clear.
Let me get it.
If the in fact, not even the original, even the 49 minutes interview that was doctored.
Yes.
If you go and watch it, a lot of people didn't watch it. Those who watch it actually contact me and say they were surprised that this thing went this way.
Because they're your friends.
No, I'm talking about obedience. How I assess my performance from my worst enemies. From obedience. So now they said, so what is the huge? Because in the beginning, he has asked a question like that and you have admitted. Why is it that later you denied? I told him, let the full video come out. I got frustrated with the way he was repeating what I told him. I acknowledged saying things even more than what you are imagining. But let us go to the issues because now I have changed my opinion and everybody has a right. In fact, on one occasion, I asked him, what is the job of the opposition? He said to oppose. I said, thank you.
So, let's tidy up on this. So you don't owe Nigerians any explanation?
No, I don't owe Nigeria. Explanation, yes, I've explained.
Sorry, you don't owe us any apologies?
No, I don't.
Because it's a sign of, magnanimity, largeness of heart.
Yes, if
to say, I'm sorry, that was not my best showing.
In my life, I have, if anybody that knows me, I am one of the fewest persons that own up to issues when they are correct and I say I apologize. Ask people who are around me. To a point where some people say, you too, they apologize. But I cannot apologize on falsehood, on doctored interview, for which the opinion were based on the doctored interview. You understand? They were based on that. So I will not apologize to falsehood and to fake news until when they release the entire video, Then when you watch it and then you come back to me and say, this is a poor performance. I've watched all the video and I think it's a poor performance. And then I'll apologize to you.
You know, because why I asked was because, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, I mean, Daniel didn't commit any offense. If you were asked, you said this, simply say, yes, I said it based on the information I had then, or I've changed my mind. Nobody can accuse you for
Even in the 49 minutes, I urge you, sir, because I'm now using you as a reflection of the society, because I'm seeing from the way we're communicating, you probably didn't watch the 49. A lot of people did not, because Media Hassan released the 8 minutes.
No, I watched the entire 49. I watched it.
You watched it?
Yes, the entire 49.
Was there at any material time in the 49 minutes where I admitted to saying things against Aswaju, and I said I did that because I was in the opposition?
Yes, there was a point where you said that's the job of the opposition or something. There was a point at that where you said
so
that.
If you have watched it, you will find more than 3 occasions in which I acknowledge. And by the way, for more than 1 year in Nigeria, this thing was litigated. All the TV houses I have been to, all, and what I mean all, podcasts and everything, I have never denied that. I have never denied saying that. And it is out in the public domain anyway. And the president in question, whom I say things in my capacity as the opposition, told me it is just the opposition. Ignore that and just move on with your work. You get the point? So I don't know the hue. You see, Mehdi Hassan did that because he might say that he is not a Nigerian, so he didn't know how that thing was litigated after I've changed my mind, and he has to do that. I don't have a problem with that. I answered all his questions. When he starts saying the same thing after I had warned him, I now made up my mind just to be denying it.
Okay, let's tidy up on this with this last question. There are strong insinuations that there are, disenchantments disunity within the president's media team, and that indeed this entire Mehdi Hassan saga was a setup. You were sent there and set up, knowing that, assuming that you would fail, you would struggle and probably fail, and that would portray you in bad light before your principal. Is there any substance?
I will reserve my comment regarding that because
Daniel, please.
I don't believe
the public has a right to know.
Yes, but I don't believe in I don't believe in crying. I know what is going on.
Yes.
Right from when I was appointed.
Yes.
I know. In fact, it is beyond just assuming. These are things
we have to place it because I don't have evidence. That's why I'm asking you.
And I am not about
to hear from the horses.
To be honest with you, sir. All the places I've been to, I have always de-emphasized conversation around my person. I've not been appointed to speak about myself. It's to speak about the president and his program. That is where you see my best, And I'm not the type of person that will complain about what is going on.
But there is division, there's disunity.
It's up to you guys in the media.
No, confirm it. You are the man in the eye of the storm.
Let me tell you.
You are the man in the eye of the storm. So let this go to rest. Let's
See. Let's just proceed. Let's proceed.
Okay. Maybe we'll come back to it when we've dealt with some other. Let's proceed. Has the president reached out to you personally in the fallout of the
he's my boss now.
Have you seen him? Has he called you to say, okay, please don't?
Even as yesterday, we chatted.
Okay, but was there any reference made to that?
I reserve my comment. But I can tell you this.
Yes.
The president has absolute confidence in my loyalty and commitment to him. And he has reiterated that over and over to a point I sometimes I feel like, because he continues to say, I have absolute confidence in you and you are doing well. This president is somebody who assesses people part-time. He is not somebody who sits down. But the greatest strength that President Bola Tinubu has, the greatest strength, I have been around politicians, the greatest strength that he has is in his ability not to make a quick judgment when information comes to him.
Strength, his greatest strength.
One of his greatest strengths. Do you know why I'm saying that? I've been around leaders who, knowing that the other party may never get to come and give his side of the story, once they hear something, they act on it. The president's belief is that when you come around speak about people's strength, he appreciates it. When you complain, the first point in his mind is you may have an agenda. So he subjects what you're saying to forensic verification. How he will do that, you will not even know. So that's why you see sometimes people will cook things in the media, sponsor bloggers. There is nothing that didn't happen in this last time, including opinion people high profile, that we are given the brief to write opinion against me, that way the president will be convinced. skit makers.
They were hired.
Hired. 2 out of these people reached out to me and said, I couldn't take that type of nonsense because I know who you are. I'm talking of prominent people. I'm not talking of social media only. But with all those things, was the president moved? He knows who I am. In terms of commitment, he knows my commitment. The president knows if I'm not committed to him, I will not come and work with him. He knows how much I revered about his qualities and abilities and what he has done to me in terms of drawing me close, forgiving me about all. He knows that it's like a renewed energy in me to want to repay for the kind of large heart.
Son that as the father has welcomed
for the large heart. Some people are not comfortable with that. Some people are not comfortable with that. And that's why you see all those things. When I see things
minded the fact that you were actually part of that family before.
Where were they? When I was with him? And one good thing about the president is 99.9% of people who are standing now taking stone and stoning somebody. You know, Jesus said, let who has not sinned among you, let him be the first to cast the stone. 99% of the people doing that have all in their history worked against Aswaju. I'm talking of even people closest to him. But you see, we live in a world where, like in the days of Jesus Christ, even the afflicted wants to afflict another person. But this election year, I am not about emphasizing or complaining about me. We have achieved so much with this administration that all I am concerned about is how to propagate it. Oh, I was in London last week. We traveled with the president for the engagement. I was in BBC. These people could appreciate what this government is doing. Now, but let me tell you something that is probably to give a perspective to Nigerians. Since 2023, the political climate has been changed for the negative. When we had for the first time political representatives cut across 3 major languages, and the demographics cut across that, it has built up hate on social media. People don't even know the manipulation of algorithm on social media, where you will be coerced to join the bandwagon. It was never your intention, but you were manipulated by algorithm. People don't even know that. Then, secondly, the set of people that support Peter Obi, I am sorry that sometimes I have to mention it. Their hatred is beyond imagination.
The obedience, you mean?
The obedience. They don't subject anything to objectivity, right? When this thing happened, they came at it because they knew how, in the past few months, how I neutralized what he claims to be his strength. And so they came all out thinking by that they would demoralize me against the next election. So that's what you see on social media. Now, where are they? Some of them are in civil society. So when they push out civil society, they say Nigerian civil society are complaining. But in actual fact, it is partisan people. Because now they are coming out to say they are supporting Peter Obi. Even television anchors in major TV houses, unofficial spokesmen of Peter Obi, they will be there. They'll be talking about objectivity and be attacking. But in actual fact, it is pushing out. Anytime there is a story negative about Peter Obi, they will never report it. This morning I was watching that program. And Peter Obi went to Kanu and him and Kwankwaso and there was crowd. See the excitement on the anchors to talk about it.
Are they not supposed to be excited? They're just
no, but let them come out and tell Nigerians I'm supporting Peter Obi. In America, I mean, people are not partisan.
No, but are you sure they're actually supporting
Are you asking me? I have more than enough evidence. They can't look me in the face and say that. But now when they see, they start analyzing, they will never say anything good in Nigeria. Anything happen in Nigeria, they will find 1,001 reasons to say that this is not the reason why it's happening like that.
We'll come back to this. We'll come back to...
And Nigerians don't know that.
We'll come back to the state of Nigeria, but let's delve deeper. Inside Aso Villa, there are cabals. There's a cabal, and then the cabal itself is factionalized. So we have the Shetima camp, the Wike camp. Of course, the Wike camp is tied to the apron strings of the Chief of Staff, Fred Gbajabiamila. They are allegedly, to be working in cahoots. Then you have old APC, Hawks also camp, and then different tendencies in the villa. The question is, you are a technocrat of sorts. You are a brilliant lawyer, independent-minded, fiercely passionate about your ideas, not just about the president, but even about the country and all of that. Number one question: do you feel belonged in that circle? Do you feel belonged in that circle?
To be honest,
yes. And how is the president managing this different?
First of all, I'm not in a position to admit what you have said, because I don't know of the existence
No,
of
Daniel,
the
you
cabal.
cannot say that.
What I can tell
You
you
have
is
even
that
you have agreed much, even in your initial comment.
no. What I can tell you is that in every government in this world,
Yes.
there are people, because of either relationship with the principal, have some degree of influence. Some exert those influence for the positives. Some exert the influence for the negative, to the advantage rather than to the interest of the principal. That's why people call cabal. For example, Donald Trump, in this second time, 2.0, his son practically constituted the cabinet. He didn't hide it. He said it after the Donald Trump won. He said, I am going to constitute the cabinet. And if you see the people he appointed, he did that. Some will call it cabal. Why Donald Trump left, maybe, he left him to do that, maybe he has seen that the young man has eye for people, and maybe he has also relationship with people around him. Every president exercises discretion on how he governs, as long as you are not violating the law. President Bola Tinubu, over the years, he is a thoroughbred politician. Not you know that he's a technocrat in the sense that he's a businessman, somebody from the corporate world. But he has built politics over the years, that politics permeate every of his being in the way he manages people. President Bola Tinubu can manage people of varied opinions in one place, and it will not be to his detriment. What I can tell you is that President Bola Tinubu is in charge of his government. You see, some people, I knew, for example, late President Muhammadu Buhari, God rest his soul, when he was in government, there were reports and there were facts supporting it. And many times he himself said by his mouth that these people are appointed that I didn't even know them, they brought them to me. He wasn't in charge. After he left, I saw a book written by the family in which one of the daughters said, even certain signature Emefiele did, he said he was not even aware. So, those type of things that are not clear. In the case of President Bola Tinubu, like I cited an example to you of how somebody will come up to him and speak against another, and you will think just because you are influential, he will agree with what you say, and that person will be there. He personally told me there was a particular cabinet member he wanted to appoint at the time, and the hell was loose. Everybody was kicking against it. He said he just sat down and was watching them because he knew what he saw and why he wanted to nominate the guy. And now the same set of people that were fighting have come back to him to talk about the effectiveness and performance of that person. That is President Bola Tinubu. So when you ask about myself, whether I feel I belong, I work with the president as a special advisor. I have access to the president in terms of physically seeing him and then communication through by privilege through phone. And like I told you even yesterday, we chatted. And that is the father, because I see him more than just a president. I see him as a father. That's how he brought me. You can ask the son Sheyi. Even when Sheyi talks to people about me, he will say, that's daddy's son. That's the way I relate. It may be different from the way other people relate. If you talk of people who belong, the best thing to belong to any group is to belong to the administrative setup, because that's the reason you are not appointed to come and form a group or join a group.
Daniel,
a non-existent group.
I'm a private sector person, and I learned the hard way not to play office politics. As in, I learned the hard way, the wisdom in playing office politics, in mastering it. Because I was of your mind too that, no, I'm here to do my job, I'm not interested. And then until I got swept away by, high wire politics. So I'm going to ask you, high wire, serious one, in private sector.
Well,
In fact, office politics is a course on its own in management.
To be taught.
Absolutely. It's called corporate culture. It falls under that, Anyway, the question is, in what camp do you belong?
The funny part is that even in church there is
it's everywhere. Even in families,
it's
there. The question is, in what camp do you belong? Because I didn't add the camps of Sheyi Tinubu, the president's.
You too have the camp.
Of course. I mean, Sheyi Tinubu can get you any appointment. So I hear. I don't know. And of course, the wife, Dr. Mrs. Remi Tinubu, she has her own camp too. She has power.
Really?
Will influence.
Who set up all those camps?
So, tell us, in which of these camps do you belong now?
I belong to the president.
Oh, you have your own camp too?
I belong to the president. I am a servant to the president, and I have good relationship with all of them. All these people you mentioned, I have a good, respectable relationship.
Then you must be a master of politics then. You must be a master politician. You must be a master politician.
Because you see what I've learned in life, when you find yourself in an association or organization, do your best to be a solution provider. sometimes the reason why people talk about silos and camp is because of interest.
Absolutely.
Conflicting interest.
Absolutely.
When you don't have interest at all, but just to do the bidding of the principal, you will naturally find yourself as somebody who is a solution provider.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There has been scandals involving persons, high-profile persons, who are close to the president. Not necessarily that some of them work for him, like the minister for the FCT, some Wike, had a public spat with a naval officer some months back. There's a leaked video of Senator Adams Oshomole, who became a Masu, emergency Masu, on a private jet, involving a South African lady. And then, of course, the most recent one is the Minister for Works and Housing, Dave Umahi, who had this running battle with this lady concerning alleged contract, non-payments, and all of that. All these issues, more even. The question is, how is the president viewing all of this? How is he managing all of this? And what efforts is he taking to pull the ears of these people in a very fatherly way? Since he said he asked, like, if to say, guys, behave, don't.
No, you see, the president has been clear about his directive in governance. Those people who know him know, you must know also, there are people that were suspended in the past, there are people that were sacked in the past, especially when there's a cogent and compelling reason to do that. If the president were to be the kind of person that is easily moved by emotions, like I cited when I was talking, there'll be a lot of people you end up sacking and they realize they ought not to have been sacked. Because see, whenever something happens, the frenzy, the public outcry at the beginning may not be the true position of things. People react. And then that's why you have the word investigation. People have to investigate. And then this individual you mentioned are people who are respectable and respected people in government who also have the right to work effectively. So, for example, if you say Dave Umahi had a problem with a lady, you need to investigate to know. Maybe the problem predates his appointment, or in the course of his appointment, somebody wanted to blackmail him. Whatever it is, it has to be investigated. And you don't investigate that by looking at social media, because people have interests and they have their interests pushed by various people that speak for them. Same thing when you talk about Oshomole, who I was privileged to serve as an advisor when he was the national chairman. If there's anybody who is passionate about this government administration, it's Oshomole. And sometimes people go to private. For example, what they were talking about is his private life. He's a public officer, but every public officer also has a private life. And then the next thing is to investigate. I think he has addressed that, and it is far behind. If you talk of Wike, for example, having a spat with the military officer, if you remember at that time, it was said to be that they were going to investigate that. For now, you could see that the situation has died down. The most important thing about government is that if you are a leader, and that is what President Bola Tinubu is demonstrating, don't be quick to judge because of frenzy or social media outcry. Because in most cases, like the way in your question, you were talking about how people can organize in the media against someone. What happened to me recently, I don't want to talk about it because it was a calculated plan.
It was an orchestration.
Orchestration to get me sacked. They go sack you for going to take the bullet for your principal. Are you going to be sacked for incompetence? You are in this country when the president mandated me to go on global media engagement. I granted 187 interviews over that period of time. And I am still confident anywhere under this heaven, if it calls for the defense of this government, I'll be there. There are types of people that serve. Basically, when you are called or appointed as a spokesman, is the most hardest job in government. Because you're going to find yourself even speaking on behalf of not just the president and his administration, but even people around who work for him. Your job is to go there and take the bullet. That's why I said you are not called or appointed to sell ice cream. Every spokesman that everybody liked, that person is undermining his principle. Because your job is to launder the image of the country, domestically and internationally, take the bullet that comes to your principal or to the government that he serves, defend the government with every fiber of your being, and in doing so, you will attract enemies across board. In this case, you have the PDP side that I was privileged to work with before. Do you think they're going to be happy? You have the obedient side that wanted me to come and work with them, and I refuse. You think they're going to be happy?
They made you an offer?
Yes, I in many interviews now, when Peter Obi asked President Obasanjo to ask me to come and work, and President Obasanjo called me, and I said, Daddy, I need to hear the phone clear when I come out. See you. That's why I don't, And then even from the progressive, the APC, when I left for PDP, there are people that were angry. You want them to be happy. So when I came back, they said they will never forgive me. And the majority of those that were angry now have seen over the period of time and say, okay, we are now convinced that he has truly paid for his sins. So you are talking about a personality that the three sides have crowd that are angry with him. That's the nature of the job. But I want to tell you something. Yeah. When I was in PDP criticizing Asiwaju, demarketing him for my candidate, do you know, because Obedient and PDP have common interest in ensuring Asiwaju didn't win, my supporters cut across the Peter Obi people. This is how you will know the hypocrisy of people. Is that when I came back to Asiwaju, they are now angry. These are the things the president knows, not his imagining, knows that people who are moved by frenzy and all those noise will never see. Again, I want to say before you move to the next question is that a true leader will never be one that will immediately act when something happens without verifying.
You have a good point on that. You mentioned Barrister Nyesom Wike in the course of your remarks. Now, he has this, culture of, granting media, monthly media chats, gathers, mainstream media platforms, 6, 7 of them, and then on a monthly basis. And most of the topics of discussion in that series is purely political, not necessarily defending the activities of the government. And then we're wondering that he has done this far more. I have seen Nyesom Wike in that setting far more than yourself, far more than Bayo Adenuga, than what's the other man's name? This other Yoruba guy, what's his name? The tall one.
Among the three speakers,
yes. Sunday Dare. I've seen Wike do this more than. So, are you guys comfortable that he's outshining you guys? And he's not doing it to hold on. He's not even doing it to launder the presidency image, but because it's purely politics, reverse local politics, grandstanding PDP affairs, and all of that. And I mean, how do you guys feel about this?
You see, you shine by demonstrating competence. You don't shine by diminishing another. The joy is that we want more people, support groups, everybody to be on board. Actually, the way it is even built to be is that when you are a minister, you're the spokesman to the president of your ministry. You understand? When you're the Minister of Information is the spokesman for the government of Nigeria. He speaks wider. Exactly. It's just like the jurisdiction of the police. The spokesman to the president, their jurisdiction is like SSS. Specific to a specific internal security of the state. We speak for and on behalf of the president and his official act. So we're clear about our job. But people tend to think that anything at all about government is the job of only the spokesman. Every minister is a spokesman for it. So now, in terms of what he says when he holds a meeting, Wike is a very good instrument in this government. He's a highly efficient and competent officer in this government. And he has capacity which has been proven to everybody. He has a disposition that will create enemies and friends for him. I have that kind of disposition. Those who will love you will love you. Those who will hate you, they will hate you. The subject of what he discussed, if the president is not comfortable, the president will talk to him. He is an appointee of the president, not us. Personally, I feel that some of his monthly meeting that he called to clarify issue is good for him. If everybody has that opportunity to be calling and be clarify issue, maybe you have less enemy.
Now let's get to serious issues. Nigeria is now ranked 4th on the Global Terrorism Index under President Tinubu. These were substantive issues that you and Mehdi Hassan.
But there is even a point of correction. Mehdi was even wrong.
But anyway, let me finish and ask the question. Meanwhile, the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data project data shows conflict death arising from terrorism, banditry, and all of that, have significantly increased. Now, you have been everywhere, defending the president's security architecture and all of that. Looking at this, that we're now number 4 and not being officially in a state of war with any foreign adversary. What do you have to say?
So, and I will take you back to Mehdi. When Mehdi asked the question, if you remember, whenever he asked a question, I used to say source, date, because he has a penchant for misrepresenting the public. That source he quoted, there's this general perception about him that he lies by omission. Lying by omission means he will bring a fact that is favorable to him against you as if he is anti. But the fact that he knows who provide the context, he will not. That's why you keep seeing me throughout. I keep saying context matters. I was deliberate about what I was saying because I did a study about him. That barometer is something barometer that gave that report. Check the last time they published that report. It was before Ashwaju became president. So lying by omission is now to import it back and say it is Ashwaju's government that said, if you are giving a report that predates Ashwaju, while the report might be the state of things in Nigeria, but at least provide the context to the people and say, although this is before he became on board, then you can make another argument to say, in fact, in my opinion, it's even worse now than it were. At least the general public, the listening public will have an understanding of the context in which you're bringing that. Now, but to answer directly, even as early as yesterday, when the president was addressing the governors, he told them about the next phase is for us to face this insecurity squarely. This government, we are not in denial about insecurity in Nigeria. We will never be. It's a fact. If you deny, that means you are not providing solution. What we have provided, especially when they come with this one-size-fits-all accusation against government, is to give the context. What you will judge us by is the effort we're putting. He just came back from England. What was the cooperation? Security cooperation is there. Before England, he was in Turkey. We have reconciled our relationship with the US. He said yesterday he had a communication with Macron, all in how they can give us equipment for us to deal with insecurity. We are a country that borders the Sahel, where you know is the Champions League final of all terrorism.
You do not deny that insecurity has worsened under President Tinubu, yes or no?
Okay, so now...
No, yes or no? I have follow-up questions, yes or no?
No, so this is... it's not a yes or no answer, right?
Okay, let me ask the question.
Let me tell you why.
No, hold on, Daniel. Even yesterday, the 150 plus people kidnapped in Sokoto, and the bandits or kidnappers requested for 20 billion or something of the sort. They didn't get the money. They killed them. I just got that report this morning.
Okay.
In Kwara State, overnight, yesterday or so, worshippers, 8 or so of them, were kidnapped. Last week, as the president was about to go to England for the state visit, we all know about the bomb blast in Maiduguri that killed scores. Yeah. I mean, is it yellow water? Is it... I mean, we could go on and on. Right. So, Daniel, even with this rough, mention that I've done, is there any reasonable person in Nigeria that would deny that this situation of insecurity has worsened in the past 3 years?
You see, why I said, and I still want to bear it bears repeating, is because, like we used to say, context matters. Yeah. And people think that by providing that as a meme, it will make us to detract and
just
stay away from that. Yeah. But even those who say that, they provide context and everything. Why I say that is because you look at it progressively. Now, when the president came, there was a worsened situation, and we had 2 years of stability. When the problem at the time was economy, we were battling us with the economy. Then, when Donald Trump started this issue of the Christian genocide, we now see the rapid insecurity increasing. But also, historically in Nigeria, on the eve of election, this type of things happen. You remember during Jonathan in 2013-14, leading to 2015, it became like at a point Jonathan had to go to the bush. Buhari, close to the election, we had similar things like that. So when I say context matters, so that people can have an understanding of the exceptional, because it's a combination of terrorism, which has to do with what comes from the Sahel and the Boko Haram. And we have gone far with the Americans on how to deal with that. Then there is issue of what we call crisis economy, state crime. This issue of banditry, kidnapping for money. It has been, but it has now worsened in your words. So as a government, we are not saying that there is no insecurity. Even in media, as I said, if you remember, on many occasions she said, "Are you concerned?" I say, "Yes, I'm concerned." Then I will proceed to tell you the effort we are making. Even when I provided the context of the water, half full and half empty, is that like you who is asking me, you can say it is half empty because of the crisis. My duty as a government spokesman is to provide you with the context of the half full, because we are not unmindful of the progress we are making in that regard. Last year, you know how we arrested leaders of this terrorist organization that were in America's watch list, and the embassies applauded us. We cannot, while answering your question, take our minds away from the successes that we've made, so that Nigerians can have confidence that this government is determined in doing that. We cannot close our eyes from the fact of the progress we are making with collaboration with countries of the world to deal with that. So if I fold my hands and say, yes, it has worsened, without providing you this context, have I done a service to the government and to the people? Because you see, while the media dig into the sentiments of the society, government has a responsibility to inspire hope into the masses. We cannot speak in the same language with the media. And that's what they fail to understand. So we are not enemies when we insist in providing context, because we want the Nigerian people to have confidence that this government is working hard and that we're going to be out of the woods.
Don't put the blame on the media. The job of the media are multi-pronged.
Yeah.
We report news. So we have to report news.
Sure.
If fatalities happen from insecurity, we have to report that.
I agree.
We have to interrogate whatever government is doing.
That is fine.
We also have to set agenda for government.
I agree.
When government is losing focus, it's our job to also pull government
But I
down.
agree with you, but let me ask you a question. Are you happy at the way, with the advent of social media and the influence of social media on mainstream legacy media, are you happy with what is happening in the media world today?
I'm the one doing the questioning, but I would answer you that
the way it is
social media has its merits.
But now they are influencing
merits. It has its own negatives.
But the negative aspect of social media is now forming the basis for news item and punchline in the mainstream.
Not entirely correct. But let's leave that. Let's leave that. Let's leave that. Let me ask you pointedly, Daniel, and we're getting into serious issues now. In your heart of hearts,
we have not been talking serious issues.
No, we have just been done. We have been played. Let's get into serious issues. In your heart of hearts, I know you to be a good guy. As President Bola Tinubu performed creditably enough on the economy, on insecurity, to deserve a second term in office.
And I'll
give you healthcare, education, power, insecurity. Does it deserve a second term on this four?
The president, and I'm glad you segment them, so I will be happy to answer on each. But on the all, the president more than deserve a second term.
Okay.
First term usually is laying a foundation, and then you will see some result. Most of the result of what you lay the foundation for in the first term is in the second term that you will see. So when you ask on the economy, I beat my chest to tell you there is no, among the politicians that ran in 2015, none of them that would have done what he has done, because while all of them said they were going to remove subsidy, after he removed, they started shying away from that decision. And that shows the kind of inconsistency of leadership. But President Tinubu stuck to that, maintained focus, and continued to dig in and look at the metrics and the numbers. All favorable to this government in terms of foreign reserve, in terms of clearing of the backlog, in terms of our name removed from that financial negative list, in terms of the strength of the naira, in everything, food items going down a little bit. And this was a decision that was made that everybody knows was going to bring concomitant effect. This is the economy. And in this economy aspect, the president, now the opposition said, don't challenge us on the economy.
Okay.
Let
me report this quickly.
Okay. All right.
And we're going to dwell on this for some time. So there will be time, don't worry.
No problem.
Take the macroeconomics, figures. You are saying, FX rate has come down, we have huge foreign reserves, and all of that. Of course, you can also even say inflation rate has come down. But in the living standards of Nigerians, where it affects the everyday man, such as myself, not you. You are part of the bourgeois. You are the bourgeois. I'm just a public servant. You are part of the bourgeois, So where it affects the common man, the everyday man on the street.
So you see, I'm happy you raised that, and we hear that generally from the people. And sometimes you see, macro and micro, they work together, right? One has to set the pace for the other.
Which one impacts the people more? Micro.
Yes, but the macro, if the macro is not put in shape, it will never affect.
But when the macro is now being doctored, it's been fictional.
No, but so let me answer that question. When you see the president's economic policy has begun to impact the Nigerian people.
Okay.
The stages of the impact of the economy has to be the establishment and laying the fundamentals of the micro. Then the impact will now be seen in the micro. The macro is what set the pace for the micro. Nigeria is a country of a larger population where whatever policy you bring for the positive, it will take time to trickle down to the common person. And even with that, this government, mindful of that fact, decided to introduce the interventionist policy of making sure within this period, as we glide through the pains that the Nigerian people are going through because of the policy, to a new hope, this is how we'll come and help them. So if you ask, to the father, mother, or somebody who is a beneficiary of the loan program, NELFON, his answer will be, the government has impacted his life. If you ask people in the agro sector who have seen improvement in their farming life, they will tell you, so the answer is relative based on impact. Yes, those who have not been impacted will complain. I can't deny that, because we have said it will take time before it will happen. Then to support my case to say that the policy we have established is working, I now use sources and resources that are supportive of our view. And I mentioned these foreign partners. Now, if you say America is satisfying its customer, UK, European Union, World Bank, IMF, so where are we? Are we in Antarctica? Are they not the same people you will quote over time to say they reported that Nigeria is going bad? If today they say situation, people are killed in Nigeria, there's a Christian genocide, who do people call? Donald Trump. Who is the American president? If they say there's poverty, the people are killed, so which barometer? Human right. This same individual, the minute their report is favorable to the government, then they lack credibility.
Let's put context. Let's
Thank
put context.
you. I'm glad.
Let's put context to this without speaking in abstract terms.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the number of jobs? Because number of jobs created is a major metric of economic performance.
Agree.
What is the number of jobs created in the last 3 years of President Tinubu's?
To be frank,
Number two, what are the number of out-of-school children? There were 18 to 20 million before he came in. Rather than reduce, it has actually spiked. So, how many out-of-school children has been moved out of school?
Okay, so you want the
this
answer.
two.
Now, I'll start with the second one.
Yeah.
That report that it is 18 to 20 million has been debunked as not the exact figure.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter, since there is a
Exactly.
large number of people that are out of school.
Yeah.
Why were they out of school? Because of insecurity. All these places where our schools are in remote places, you know that they have displaced people, right? Because most of the out of school children are in the northern Nigeria. But the point is government quiet and indolent about it? No. That's why the president introduced this policy of save the school.
Numbers.
I'm telling you that a lot of people became children were out of school because of insecurity. It's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that the
Insecurity
government...
and bad governance. Although not just from the federal, but the states.
So I'm glad you know that. But the effort of the government in restoring the schools came through the Save the School initiative. Whereas people that are students that are in the outskirts, in ungoverned spaces, are now brought back to the state capital under this arrangement, and they'll be given the training. If you ask, is it happening? I would say, go to Central Bank and see how this support system is working.
Let's save time.
Then you talk about employment.
Yes.
Employment, we've been having, in terms of the exact figure, I don't have it, but I can research it and give you, because if I give an employment figure that is wrong, I mean, there is a bureau to discredit me. So it's not something that we're either cooking or we're trying to shy away from it. But if you're asking, has there been employment? Of course there has been employment.
The biggest one for me, actually, power. I have newspapers, 6 newspapers, 2022. Same headlines, though varied in different words. The President Tinubu said, candidate Tinubu then said, it is electricity. If I don't provide electricity after 4 years, don't re-elect me in 2027 for the second term. Yeah. Should the president not stand before Nigerians, apologize for not keeping his promise, and honorably walk away so that somebody else who is more capable can deliver on this electricity?
Those people that you are saying they can deliver.
I didn't mention anybody's name.
Anybody, but you know
It
that
could be you. It could be anybody.
No, what I'm saying
Yes.
is, at least there was a political party that spent $15 billion.
You were part of that.
I was
You were part of. You were
I
part
was
of
never
them.
their member.
You were part of them.
I was never their
So
member
the
that time.
president, he should walk away and let somebody else do this job.
Let me tell you, the president has actually done much in power, but the output is the complaint. You are aware of the regulatory framework that now allows states to generate
Absolutely, and private sector too.
and private sector. Is that not a positive organ?
He didn't do that. That was done under President
I'm
Buhari.
coming now. Is that a positive or not?
We don't have power.
Secondly,
after 3
I'm
years.
coming. Secondly, when the president came on board, and only to discover that you talk about the discourse,
Yes.
the outstanding money that they were not paid. To the point, Asobila had to go on what? Solar. These are realities, so you have to settle that first. Just like when he came, the issue of forest backlog. You have to settle it. When we settle it, then we see airlines, doing business and being effective. It's a natural course of life. You can see the complex nature. With respect to a public officer, the job of every public officer is to be effective in the duties that he's tasked to do. If he fails to do that, the president will assess. We have You remember when he introduced the key KPI, the key performance indicators? He's been using that. There were ministers that were dropped the other time.
The president nominated ambassadors and then sent them out, Some of them very controversial, but I won't go into all of them. I'll just mention one. The shocker for me, really, is that Barrister Jimoh Ibrahim was named as Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations. There are many less controversial persons that could fit that bill. First, why not? Why? Because that job is actually for career ambassadors.
The president of the United States.
Why that person?
I'm coming. The president of the United States of America,
demanded for Jimoh Ibrahim.
I'm coming. The largest country of the world.
Yes.
Strongest country of the whole economy. So many of his companies went bankrupt. It didn't deter him from becoming the president of the world. To give you the picture of one, Jimoh Ibrahim is not sent to the United Nations to go and start a business. He's representing Nigeria. Jimoh Ibrahim is well qualified educationally, mentally and morally. And as a matter of fact for me, Jimoh Ibrahim is a rare gem in Nigeria. Forget about his business, conflict of business. We are all human beings. Human beings are political animals. We all have our past, right? But Nigeria has one fundamental, some not everybody, have fundamental problem. Anytime somebody is appointed to a position, the next thing they talk about is controversy. That the person is controversial, he should not be appointed. The same people raising this thing in media houses that are saying, nobody is more controversial than them. So Nigeria is not looking for perfect people. Nigeria is looking for performing people. That's whenever they come to the State of the Union, the Americans, they will say, we are not a perfect country, we are working towards a perfect union.
Brilliant, brilliant. Why is the president afraid of opposition? Why is he intent on destabilizing and destroying Labour Party? PDP is gone.
That is false.
Seyi Makinde over the weekend said it before, repeated it just this weekend, that he sat at a meeting with the president and the FCT minister, where the FCT minister promised the president to hold down PDP for him, and we have seen that result.
And what he said
is under serious, attack.
What he says is corroborated by what? You see, let me tell you how
the president never denied it.
Oh, no.
Wike never denied it.
No. Wike denied it. But let me tell you, from my discipline of law, from my discipline of law, to be honest with you, evidence one and inference. Inference is key because it forms part of what talked about the mainstream or mental.
Why is the president afraid of
the opposition? President is not. You say ask that question and you went into some of those. I will never be that person. In answering question, I will assume when an allegation is made without clarifying it.
Why is the president afraid of opposition?
The answer is the president is not afraid of opposition.
Why the president want to make sure there's no free, fair, credible elections in 2027?
If I ask you to provide evidence, you don't have any. It's all conjecture. If I push you further, you will say now somebody said.
Conjecture that Labour Party is destabilized, that PDP is destabilized, that ADC, there's a guy now, there's a strong rumor flying around that they want to use INEC to recognize some renegade ADC person to say he's the chairman. What is that rumor?
Let me tell you, let me ask you. Why is he afraid? I say he's not afraid. Then you provided by Seyi Makinde's story. While I was debunking it, you said let us not go there. Why is he afraid? So in other words, you are trying to push an opinion. Unfortunately, if that's the last question we have, we are finished.
It's not the last question.
Because the president is not afraid. And you could see the kind of popularity of the president that has brought these governors. If you say it is Labour Party. So when they were having problems, Peter Obi refused to go there and settle the case, including when Ken Okonkwo said Peter Obi is not a leader. You are not aware of that? When PDP started all those well, where is Atiku? What role has he played? In APC, whenever there is going to be a crisis, he will step. The leader has to step in. You can't sit somewhere your inability to resolve your issue. So then you now label the government.
The problems that is externally motivated.
How is it externally motivated? Who? Anybody from APC went to their party?
Okay, let's.
Nigeria is a country of allegation.
let's.
When you ask them provide evidence, you go explain tire. They're not going to provide evidence.
Let's round up, Daniel. Now, let's assume President wins. Let's even assume that everything ends 2027. The president leaves and then you're out of job. If historians, just hold on.
How can I hold up? You make an allegation,
it's out of job. Scenario. I'm just speaking scenario. No, you can't be out of job. You are a seasoned professional.
So
you have a second address. You have a second address. Definitely.
Are we not in
this a seriously appointed
where are we now?
Your law firm.
Okay.
Highly, in a posh neighborhood and all of that. Now, here's the question. Historians are going to write about these times in a few years, I write books on government.
Yeah.
And they're going to write about your role because you are a major face of this administration. Are you sure of your place in the history books? Are you happy of your place in the history books on these times?
I have a feeling.
Yes.
If sentiment is thrown away and objectivity is brought to bear, which usually often happens when the music ends, I'm going to run in history as one of the best spokesmen Nigeria has ever had.
Wow.
Because the nature, duty, and job description of a spokesman is to market his product.
Brilliant. What line would the president or the administration cross for you personally that you will throw in the towel and say, I can't deal with
If
this?
the president turns his back from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that's the very reason for which the entire nation exists.
Are you sure he's not done that in the last 3 years?
He has not. He has not.
The impeachment of the governor in the suspension of Governor Fubara in Rivers.
You even started by saying impeachment.
That was a misstatement, and I corrected myself quickly.
And
the suspension of Governor Fubara, was that not a breach of the Constitution?
No, it was not. It has been argued. They even went to court.
Supreme Court.
Yes, and what did the Supreme Court say?
Yes, they said the Supreme Court made him. They coronated him a monarch. Invariably.
That's you. So you as Supreme Court should sit down and talk. What I'm saying is we have not violated the provision of the Constitution. Nigeria is a country of people, for the lack of evidence, they push allegation. I know the sentiment you're drawing is, for example, most of what we discuss now, social media. You refuse to agree with me when I say it has influence on mainstream. Have you not noticed most television houses, when they come and they say stories trending, what are they talking about? The things that are on social media, most of them are not verified. And now it has get to a point, a news item, they will be calling bloggers, Linda Nkeji and the rest. This is the unfortunate situation as a country we have come to, and it is building up hate, vitriol, because people look at revenue, clickbait, and all of these things in social media.
You know me personally, and you know SYMFONI. We are a serious media platform.
Not you.
Of course I know. Of course I know. We are a serious media platform. We don't pander to junk on social media. Not at all. We've talked here for over almost 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Solid facts, not nonsense on whatever,
And let me even tell you, still along the line.
Yes.
All of your years as a seasoned journalist and veteran, highly respected for that matter, you know how you recruited journalists to your work in various organizations that you work with. You know they had to have a discipline in that. You know the etiquettes. You know all of that, and you observe it strictly and punish people who violate that. In the last 5-10 years in Nigeria, most of the people that are working in media houses as front runner and image of those organizations have zero training in the journalism.
People even dial back longer than 5-10 years, The standards are falling. That's acceptable. No.
And they have not become modern.
Fair critic, we take it.
Even abusing veterans in the field.
Yeah, very true. Very true. As we round up now, what's your own personal outlook? 2027, would you contest for election?
No, I don't have interest to contest because
that's why some Nigerians are actually worried about you, because you have very brilliant, profile and a bright prospect.
I contested in the past for Senate at the primaries, but I do not have any plan whatsoever to contest because I am consumed by the need to support in pushing the cause of the president. The things he has started, we need it consolidated. And so whatever I can do, even if tomorrow morning I wake up, I'm not on this job, mark it and you can visit back, I will still say that the president has a better agenda than the people I see now, except a different person comes out somewhere, like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. But these ones that are around, none of them have provided a better idea. And with the credential of the president, because when I supported Atiku at the time, I was saying Atiku was a more qualified person because at least he served as vice president, and the highest qualification of Ashwaji was governor. Now he's a president. So, by God's grace, look at Ashwaji's disposition in the past 3-4 years. Has he ever confronted people and talked very unreasonable to Nigerians? That is what he taught us. You have to show empathy. And my former principal, Atiku, in the past 3 years, tell me a particular role he played at a given instance when Nigerians are going through pain that suggests he not only cares for them but work towards that.
Please, you have to get Atiku's spokesperson to come and defend you.
No. But when I'm saying whenever anybody that is looking for my principal's job,
you are a spokesperson, so you should actually
anybody that is looking for my principal's job
Nigerians will determine which of them is the best, for the job.
Sure,
not
I agree. And Nigerians are happy with what President Bola Tinubu is doing, given the circumstances.
Daniel Bwala, it's been such a wonderful time having this conversation with you. And I'm sure we'll do this regularly.
Anytime.
We'll do this regularly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.